You will likely have seen this before. It's the Tesla Semi, the long-awaited cargo-hauling beast from Tesla that marks a new chapter for the company and perhaps for the automotive industry overall. What you will not have seen before is this: the Tesla Semi factory responsible for actually making these vehicles. It's located in Sparks, Nevada, on Electric Avenue, which is all perfect if you're a word cell like me.
Let's see what we got.
As it happens, I know a guy who can open doors at a place like this. Yes, we got the exclusive first look at the factory, so we might as well go on inside. All you have to do is hit like and subscribe to unlock the video. We'll wait.
All right, here we are at the Tesla Semi factory. We're gonna do a walking tour, and we're off.
Okay, well done. You're in. Parts of this factory are going to look awesome, like this. And parts are going to look more like a work in progress, which is what this really is.
So we broke ground here a little less than 2 years ago. We spent about 6 months starting to put the steel up, walls up. Then we spent 6 months getting the inside all ready, running the utilities and whatnot. Then started to bring equipment in, and now we're in the last phase, which is turning that equipment on and prepping for start of production.
I arrived here in early March of 2026 and did, in fact, have to call in a favor from the big guy to see the place. This is because Tesla is in the midst of gearing up the Semi factory for mass production, and it's still some weeks away from full splendor.
It must be a journey setting up something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've really took a lot of the lessons learned from our other factories, and that's everything from the layout to a lot of vertical integration. We have stamping on site. You're taking advantage of injection molding that's over at the other Gigafactory building.
And what was your journey through Tesla to end up here?
So I started as an intern on battery engineering, that was fortunate enough to actually end up at this factory, at Gigafactory, Nevada, back in 2014. And then JB, one of our co-founders, now board member, was asked, why do we have to ship parts between these two factories in Fremont, California, we're here in Reno, Nevada? How do we do that not on diesel trucks? And we quickly realized there was a business case there. And as a company, we're always super interested in doing this because of the environmental impact it can have. And diesel trucks consume a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
They're 1% of the vehicles on road. They're like 16 to 18% of the fuel consumed. So on a dollar per mile basis, the semi-truck is substantially cheaper running electric than it is diesel. So all the way back in 2017, we unveiled our initial design and then went through multiple loops, had some company growth challenges in there a few times, and we'll own the schedule, but now we're ready and it's time to bring this to scale.
Tesla mentioned its Semi aspirations for the first time back in 2016, inside of Elon Musk's Master Plan Part 2 document. Tesla then revealed a Semi prototype in 2017 and said production would begin by the end of 2019. But, things happen. It ended up taking until 2022 for some select customers to get early versions of the Semi, and it ended up taking until now for the final design to get into manufacturing. Since things here were in flux and some bits were off limits, we decided to hit a few of the key steps in making a Semi.
What you're seeing here is a complete cab, and now it's set to be ready to actually be put on overhead conveyance. So when we get to assemblies of a certain size, it makes sense to pull that off the ground floor and do it slightly above ground. And then this will go over to the coatings area where it will get its coatings for both corrosion protection as well as more of a visual appeal.
Okay, and like this up here, is this part of the things conveying through the factory up in the air?
That's right. So what's up above us, these carriers are capable of holding not just that initial frame, but as we go, the larger sub-assemblies get installed into that frame. So it's the pneumatics module, we've got our battery packs, the drive axle, the steer axle, and by the end, you're talking about an assembly that is well north of 10,000 pounds. And what this carrier does is it can actually move vertically to the right level based on the work content at that station. Because for every one of those jobs, you have operators that are working at different levels. So everything's suspended from above and then adjusts as it goes down the line to the right operator height.
It must look nuts when these are all full of giant hunks of metal flying around.
Yeah, it's one big loop, and these are some of the largest of these carrier types in the world. And we're right on the cusp of starting to produce first assemblies off these lines. So you're gonna witness what we call battery marriage.
Okay.
So this is our long-range truck. Now we're gonna fasten the battery pack into the frame. And here we have our 3 battery packs. So they're all essentially the same. They're in parallel. And we're using essentially the same cell out of Cybertruck. But our cars, the packs are more like a pancake.
Flat pack.
Exactly. Versus these are more like a cube. And you get a lot of energy storage in a small space. And it's only doable if you design the vehicle to be electric from the ground up. But you can see now that the frame's coming in and it's gonna get really tight up and close in between the battery packs, nested right there into the frame.
And this would all be automated as the factory keeps going?
Yeah, that's correct. So this is a somewhat manual operation right now.
Okay.
So then this is the torque tool that will allow them to very precisely torque down these bolts.
Okay.
The goal is to run this massive place as simply and efficiently as possible.
So this is the cab line. So again, the cab would have been brought in from above and then brought down.
Okay.
And then this is where coating starts.
Just next door is the Gigafactory for electric vehicle batteries. And so there's now a manufacturing meld between the two factories.
We're stamping parts that'll be consumed in that facility. They're making injection molding parts that are going to be used here. We've got engineers and other people that are based at that factory that come over and help all the time.
Elon Musk has turned building giant factories into an art form.
This is awesome.
Yeah, light tunnel.
Yes.
This is the last station at the end of General Assembly. And what we're doing here is our first check to make sure everything looks good.
Then this one had to be giant for the semi.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're gonna build it, make it cool.
Yeah.
If your truck factory's light tunnel doesn't look like this, is it even a truck factory?
This is where Tesla employees should get married or something.
The Semi comes in 2 flavors, big and bigger, or what Tesla calls standard range and long range. The standard version will go about 325 miles on a full charge, while the bigger long range edition gets 500 miles.
Let's see what we got.
Tesla is in the midst of building a supercharging network just for its trucks. These 2 trucks represent the ready-to-mass manufacture design Tesla has settled on.
That's cool.
We can show you the inside, but only briefly.
What?
Because Dan said he wanted to save some of the user interface secrets for later. As you wish, Dan.
I'm a trucker now.
What does it feel like to drive one of these? I wouldn't know, but I did get to find out what it's like to ride in one.
So you have a truck license?
I do. I went and got my CDL. Definitely cannot call myself a trucker, but huge respect to the folks that do it every day. It's very different though when then you go to an electric because the torque and just the drivability is so different. This basically drives like one of our cars. Yeah. The low speed, precise throttling is really great. The responsiveness just makes control so much easier. And regenerative braking is the other thing that is just a game changer for trucking. Smoothing everything out in stop and go traffic and being able to recover that energy. But it's also going down large grades. You don't have to worry about your engine brake. You don't have to worry about getting in the right gear and descending safely or missing a downshift and potentially needing to use a runaway truck ramp.
It must be so much more quiet in these too.
Yeah, you get out on the road and it's very pleasant, calm. We get a lot of compliments on the noise level. By the way, the trailer we've got behind us is full of drive units. It's pushing about 40,000 pounds of payload. It's just effortless. You don't even think about it. We have 10 exterior facing cameras. Between the direct visibility that our forward center seating position gives you and the glass cockpit, plus all the camera views, you can get really, really close to objects because you can see to the front of the truck.
Are truckers a harder or easier group to convince?
It's kind of polarized. You're either looking at it and you're immediately seeing the economics because it's a business tool. It's not an emotional purchase. And they say, yep, this makes sense. That's what I want to go with. But then on the other side, this is a bit of a change for them. It's a new truck, different capability, new technology, not to mention interfacing with charging and adjusting their operations just to accommodate electric in general. And so there's a healthy amount of caution to ensure that electrification is going to work for them. But they do love it's like way less maintenance, less operating cost per fuel basis, just greater availability because of the reliability. So I would say mostly they're very interested, and if we get them in and they do a demo, they get to go take it for weeks at a time and put it in their operation, really stress test it, and they come out of that and say, oh no, this will work for us.
Up next in our journey through Nevada, I go to Vegas and cheat on my wife with the robot.
There's something on your little chin. Let me get that for you.